Hey, it's Kelly Bishop here, and I am here as part of Direct Mentors and Bishop Real Estate Group of Montana and Nevada. And just another part of my workshop series and some things that I have to offer through my training, coaching, and mentoring program. I have this great little mini seminar that I'm just going to share part of it here with you today about doing successful open houses and the value of doing open houses. So once again, I'll remind you at the end, but again, feel free to reach out to me through Facebook or through my website, direct message me, phone calls, texts, emails. I respond to them all. Especially if you've already seen my relationship marketing class, you'll know that those are things that are very important to me. So let's get started about how to get the most out of your open houses. So one of the best things that I like to tell everybody, number one, find a home in the price range that you want to work in. If you don't have the listings, that's okay. There's usually other realtors that don't like to do open houses, and they're more than happy to let you help them out and put that house on the market for them in a great area and help you market it for them. So call other realtors if you don't have your own listings, offer to market it, help them set it up. Make sure that the leads, though, are yours from the open house and that you don't have to share them back with whoever the listing agent is, because it's you that are going to be there doing the work for them. Try and look at least a week to 2 weeks in advance for some of those homes as well, because you need about that much time to make sure that it gets put on, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, your Nextdoor apps, Zillow, and all those other fun publications that you want to make sure that you get your open house publicized out there so you have a great turnout for it. And it gives you time to do some flyers, which we'll talk about here in a moment. So the other thing I like to stress with people, look at your locations. How easy is the house to get to? If it's 10 miles back on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, people probably aren't going to come. So one of the things I want to talk about is count your turns, count your locations, find out what's going on in that particular neighborhood that weekend. Is it a gated community, and are you going to be able to even get into the community as well? How many open house signs and directional signs are you going to need to make sure people know how to find the house? Those are all things that you need to look at ahead of time. The other thing that I love to tell people, team up with a lender, team up with a title company, get someone else to help you market it, spend the time with you, and be there with you so that you're not doing an open house alone. And we'll touch base back on that a little bit more about our safety when we do open houses as well. Create an event. Facebook is great about events, Zillow, all those types of things. Build a great flyer. There's so many great flyer apps out there, whether it's, digital or paper, whatever you need to do. So get it on Craigslist as well. There's a lot of people that look for open houses there. Invite other realtors. It doesn't just have to be clients. There's a lot of realtors that don't have what we call caravans where you go and look at homes here. They just go look at open houses. So make sure other realtors know that you're putting this house on, their open house weekend or that during the week when you guys do your open houses. Post it in all your local Facebook buy, sell, and trade postings. Let people know where you're at and when it's going to happen. If it's in a neighborhood where there's, a clubhouse, maybe you could post it in the clubhouse, or if it's near a grocery store, put it there. If you're in your Nextdoor neighborhood app and you are familiar with that neighborhood, post it there, or find someone in that neighborhood, maybe the person who owns the house can put it in there for you and say, hey, I'm going to be having an open house. Such and such realtor is, co-brokering this for me this weekend to put our house on the market. So don't be afraid to ask the seller to help you with what their connections are as well. If you have the time and the availability, put together some postcards and get those mailed out as well. And again, call the neighbors. If the neighbors, know someone that they want to come live in their neighborhood, they might be the one to go, knock on their door and say, hey, we're putting this house on the market. We're going to have an open house. If you or someone might want to move to this great neighborhood, this is going to be the time and the place that we're having the open house. And we want to invite you, and you can invite your friends. And a lot of times people just come because they're nosy, but it brings rapport with the neighbors. It gets you to know the neighbors and the neighbors to know who you are. So don't be afraid to door knock. If you can leave flyers legally, be sure you have permission to be able to do that so you don't get in trouble. Make it sound like a party. Hire someone to come in and barbecue. Have custom cupcakes there. Do a wine tasting. One of my friends that's an agent here in Las Vegas, he has, serving beer here. Now, mind you, it's root beer, but it's a great technique that people come and go, really? Are you really selling beer here? Are you really giving out beer here? Well, they are. It's root beer. So it's a great marketing tactic. And so the other thing that you want to do is when you're reaching out to the neighbors, let them know you're trying to help them find their new neighbors. So if they are, in the know and the how of what you're doing, they're going to be more responsive to that too. So do that at least the day before. Go knock those doors in that neighborhood and maybe like the surrounding block behind it then. Call them if possible. Ask the seller for their numbers so that you can reach out to them and thank them later afterwards. Hey, it's open house day. So what are the things you're going to do? You're going to go take your route that you were training on there, and you're going to lay out your signs and make sure you've got direction signs, make sure you've got a welcome sign in front of the house, have your sign-in sheets ready, make sure your title and mortgage companies have, their sign-in sheets there as well if they want those type of things. A lot of times there's digital sign-in, electronic things that you can do as well, so you're capturing their email and their text number and that type of thing right there. And if people are not wanting to check in with them, you can tell them that it's a safety thing, that we do require that everyone that comes into the house does sign in. And especially nowadays, it's very important that you know who's in that house with you. Have a very nice table with lots of information. Have some refreshments ready. Keep them light. It doesn't have to be anything huge and fancy unless you're doing a several hour one, like I say, and then you're maybe hiring a food truck with barbecue food and things like that. Make sure you turn on all the lights in the house. Open the curtains, turn on the AC if you're here in Vegas. If you're in Montana, you probably need to turn on the heat because there's nothing worse than walking into a really hot house or a really cold house. So keep all those things in mind as well. The temperature of the house is always great. Again, what information should you have available for this open house? Make sure you've got a current market analysis available. Have a list of current homes that are listed in the area so they know what the competition is. Maybe this isn't the house for them, but you can have the opportunity to show them the other house if they aren't crazy about this one. Be sure you have information about the HOA, your taxes, your schools, maybe property boundaries depending on where the house is located at. Put all this information into a really nice binder, maybe make some additional packets in case someone wants to take that information with them. So keep that in mind too. Have your lender calculate what the payments are going to be and have that printed out for them as well so they know what they are expected if there's a down payment and that type of thing too. Have a title company print out what the local costs are going to be for them for closing so that they know what their expectations are when they get ready to get closer to closing. And here we go. We're at the open house. So we're going to be very welcoming and love on the people as they come in the door. One of the things I always again stress, make sure you're not alone doing these open houses. Greet all of your guests, ask them to sign in, confirm if their realtor is meeting them today or if they're on their own so that you know if they're already working with someone or not and you're not stealing their clients. But you can also call the other realtor and thank them for sending that client there, and then you have someone to follow up with. As you show them the house, ask what their needs are so that you know what they're looking for and you'll be able to better help them if this isn't the house exactly for them. Offer to put them on a drip campaign for a search if they're not already working with someone and if this isn't specifically their dream home. Remember, I said this earlier, safety first. So once again, never do an open house alone. Make sure you have pepper spray, or if you're me, I have bear spray, which sprays a little harder and faster and will keep people a little bit further distance. Get everyone to sign in. Make sure that you know who those people are in your house. Never walk in front of your clients. Always go into the rooms or upstairs. Make sure that they are ahead of you and that you are always behind them, especially on stairwells. If you are feeling uncomfortable about someone, then just let them look through the house themselves and you stay near the front door. Make sure that people don't separate themselves from you, and especially if it's a house that's occupied, that's again the importance of having someone else there at those open houses with you so that you're not leaving people unattended. And always make sure that your sellers have removed any valuables or any personalized things from the home so that people don't know who actually lives there. That's for your safety as well as theirs. Again, we're going to talk a little bit about preparing the house because not everybody's house is always perfect for an open house. So if the house is vacant, still you need to make sure if there's dust on the floors, dust on the windowsills, if there's fingerprints on the counters, make sure there's no stale odors in the air, that type of thing. I love to give my one little tip and trick here on this. webinar as well, is that if you can, take a little piece of tin foil and take some vanilla that you would like use for baking and pour that on the tin foil, and then just like put it in the oven and just put the oven on warm for like maybe 15-20 minutes just before the open house starts, and the whole house smells like fresh vanilla, like you're baking cookies, and it doesn't give off that funky odor when you use like Febreze or other air fresheners and things like that. So keep that in mind too. So again, keep that in mind if the house is vacant, and sometimes even if it's occupied, sometimes there can be little odors there too. If there's pets, try and make sure the pets are locked away, or that the owners have taken them with them and that they're not in the way, and that all of, your dog feces and things like that are picked up in the yard as well. So if the house is occupied, again, depersonalizing it and decluttering is very important. Do a quick scan of the house to make sure that valuables are out of sight if they've left things like that as well too. Maybe put some things in a closet or tuck them behind or under a bed to make sure that there aren't those things that are out, obviously. So that's another thing to remind your sellers as well as they're preparing the house. So as you're getting ready to prepare the house too, if there's new flooring or if the carpets have been freshly cleaned or if it's light carpeting, make sure you even have the little shoe booties and things like that so that you've got that ready for people to put on there as well. So make sure that you are prepared to keep the house clean as people are tracking through, especially with weather conditions. And again, another nice little thing, if there's a candle burning or to have some light music playing in the background is always a big plus too. So as you wrap up your open houses, there's also some things you always want to be sure that you do too, to be respectful of your owners and of the people that have been there. So be sure all your lights get turned off, be sure all your doors are locked, and make sure everything is put away and put back to where it was before you walked in the house. Take your materials with you unless it's your listing, and then otherwise you can leave your binder of information as a show of your work and your professionalism for your listing. And there again, be sure to follow up with everyone that signs in on the sign-in sheet. I would follow up the next day because that's why it's fresh in their head. They'll be more apt to remember you and reach out to you. And then again, if there's someone that you can put them into your drip campaign and reach out to them, that's an even better way to reach out to them and help them out and help them find their dream home if this, again, wasn't their dream home. So that is where I like to reach out to people with doing their open houses. And there again, this is just, I'm giving you just the snippet of this information that we do here at Direct Mentors through our coaching, mentoring, and training program, and our team building that we do and helping each other out with these presentations, with doing open houses and things like that. And I hope you'll stay tuned because next week I'm hoping that we will probably do some more time management and goal setting and training and things like that in our next seminars. So stick with us here at Direct Mentors. Let us help build your network and your net worth. And again, our goal is to create experts out of your experience. And we'll see you next time. This is Kelly Bishop. Thank you and have a great day.